Good morning, boys and girls. Today we're working on lesson 114. Let's go ahead and begin with part 1. Touch the letters L-E-S-S. What's one meaning of less? Without. Touch the letters L-Y. What's one meaning of Lee? How something happened. Touch the letters N-E-S-S. What's one meaning of ness? The state of being something. Touch the letters R-E. What's one meaning of re? Again. Touch the letters A-B-L-E. What's one meaning of able? Able to be. Now let's go ahead and touch the first word in part 2. What is the underlined part? What word? Ailment. Next word. What is the underlined part? What word? Surgery. Next word. What is the underlined part? What word? Knowledge. Next word. What is the underlined part? Ow. What word? Snout. Next word. What is the underlined part? What word? Sewer. Next word. What is the underlined part? Ness. What word? Cleanliness. Next word. What is the underlined part? What word? Penicillin. Let's go ahead and look at part 3. First word. What word? Especially. Next word. What word? Medicine. Next word. What word? Referred. Next word. What word? Disease. Next word. What word? Patient. Next word. What word? Diphtheria. Next word. What word? Viewed. Next word. What word? Effective. Next word. What word? Bubonic. Next word. What word? Leather. Next word. What word? Plague. Next word. What word? Sweating. Next word. What word? Advanced. Next word. What word? Invisible. Next word. What word? Professional. Next word. What word? Dwellings. Next word. What word? Childhood. Next word. What word? Smallpox. Next word. What word? Wand. Next word. What word? Statues. Now let's go ahead and continue with part 4. We're going to talk about what those words mean. Word number 1. What word? Treatment. Now, a treatment is a cure. Number 2. What word? Organism. Something that is living is an organism. Everybody, what is an organism? Something that is living. Number 3. What word? Microscope. A microscope is an instrument used to look at things that are very small. Everybody, what do we call an instrument used to look at things that are very small? A microscope. Touch word number 4. What word? Infected. Infected means deceased. Everybody, what's another way of saying she had a diseased foot? Get ready. She had an infected foot. Now let's go ahead and begin with part 5. The title of the story is Medicine Years Ago. So let's go ahead and begin reading. Make sure we're tracking, paying close attention. The doctors of today are professionals with a great deal of knowledge about the human body and what may go wrong with it. Doctors understand what treatments are effective. They treat some problems with surgery, which involves cutting into the patient's body. To fight disease, they may use some form of drug such as penicillin. They know that germs spread diseases and that germs are tiny organisms, so small that they are invisible unless viewed under a microscope. It is fair to say that today's doctors have a great understanding of medicine, the science of curing ailments. Let's go ahead and listen to question number 1. What does medicine mean? Medicine means the science of curing ailments. Let's go ahead and keep reading. Please follow along. The doctors of 1850 did not know many of the things that today's doctors understand. They didn't understand that they should wash their hands before touching a patient. If you had been living then and had to go to a hospital, you probably would not have left that hospital alive. Over half of the people who entered a hospital died there because hospital attendants and doctors didn't know as much as they do today. Listen to question number 2. Why did over half of the hospital patients die in 1850? Over half of the hospital patients in 1850 died because hospital attendants and doctors didn't know as much as they do now. Let's continue reading. Let's go back much further than 1850. Let's go back to the year 1350 and let's visit a large city in Europe. The scene is quite similar in all large cities. The first thing you probably notice is the smell of the city. Many cities did not have sewers, so the streets were used as sewers. Another thing you notice is that the people are very dirty and that they smell. They don't believe in taking baths. Even kings and very rich people bathe only once or twice a year. The city, you observe, is surrounded by a large wall, and the dwellings are packed together. The Great Wall around the city was originally intended to protect it from attack by neighboring kings or princes, but packing people together makes for terrible filth. Listen to question number 3. If you were in a European city in the year 1350, why would the city smell? The European city in the year 1350 would smell because the streets were used as sewers. Why were the people dirty? People were dirty because they did not believe in taking baths. Now, why was the city surrounded by a large wall? The city was surrounded by a large wall in order to protect the city from attacks. So let's go ahead and keep reading. You observe an interesting contrast between the filth of the city and the beautiful painting, statues, and handcrafted objects made by the talented artists and craftsmen of the city. Obviously, the people have a great appreciation of beauty, and some of the music you hear is still played today. What a contrast! On the other hand, the people's understanding of medicine and cleanliness is far different from what we know today. Yet, on the other hand, the people are similar to today's people in their understanding of the arts. Listen to question number 4. What great contrast existed in the city? The great contrast that existed in the city is between people's understanding of the arts and their understanding of medicine and cleanliness. Let's continue reading. As you walk through the crowds of people in the streets of the city, you notice a man dressed in a very strange outfit. He wears a large leather coat and gloves. Over his face is a strange mask with a large circle of glass in the middle and a long snout. He carries a long metal wand, and as he walks down the street, the people run to get out of his way. The man is a doctor. He treats people who are infected with the most dreaded disease in the city, the bubonic plague. His costume is a special one, worn only in times of plague. Listen to question number 5. How did doctors dress in a time of plague? Doctors wore large leather coats and gloves and a strange mask during the times of a plague. Let's go ahead and continue reading. The bubonic plague, called the Black Death at the time of our visit, is the greatest single killer in the city. This dreaded disease spread throughout Europe in the middle of the 14th century, the 1300s, and killed probably at least 1/3 of the population. Bubonic plague is not the only killer in the city. Smallpox and measles and diphtheria are common. You probably noticed that many people's faces are covered with pit-like scars. These scars were caused by smallpox. Almost everyone in the city suffered from smallpox when they were children. Those who wear the scars lived. Listen to question number 6. What is another name for the bubonic plague? Another name for the bubonic plague is the Black Death. Why was it a dreaded disease? It was a dreaded disease because it killed so many people. What were some of the other diseases that hit cities? Some of the other diseases were smallpox, diphtheria, and measles. Now, why did most people have scars on their faces? Most people have scars on their faces because they had smallpox. Now, let's continue reading. The graveyards are filled with the thousands of children who didn't live. On the average, a baby born in 1300 could have been expected to live less than 20 years. The baby's life expectancy was 20 years. This was so because many would not survive the diseases of childhood. Even those who did might die from something as simple as an infected tooth. In contrast, the life expectancy of people in Europe and North America in the 20th century is about 70 years because most children survive childhood diseases. As you stand in the street watching people make way for the doctor in the leather outfit, you decide to follow him and observe how he cares for those who suffer from the bubonic plague. Perhaps you will regret this decision. Let's listen to question number 7. What is the average life expectancy? Today, the average life expectancy is about 70 years. Now, what was the average life expectancy in the 1300s? The average life expectancy in the 1300 was less than 20 years. Okay, boys and girls, so when we're done, please go ahead and answer questions on lesson 114. Have a great day. Thank you for working hard.